Hello, welcome to Buy Great TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification button so you don't miss our next video. This is on how Ghana got her independence. The Akan people, who make up the largest ethnic group of today's Ghana, got into that geographical space through the north and spread southwards between 1200 and 1600 CE. They set up the Dankira Kingdom, which had a centralized state and a powerful army. They traded gold and kola nuts for cloth and salts, and also engaged in the slave trade. The Ashanti people waged war against them, and by 700 had gained control of the slave trade. Then the Ashanti nation became fully in charge. Meanwhile, Portuguese traders arrived at this geographical space in 1471 in search of gold and ivory and named the place the Gold Coast. From the mid-16th century, other Europeans began to settle there, and in the mid-18th century there were Danish, Dutch and British settlements. Some of the British settlers interfered in matters of the locals and settled conflicts for them. The British settlers particularly interfered in the military confrontations between the Ashanti and the Fante. The Fante states signed the Bond of 1844 at Fomena Adansi, permitting the British to take charge of the judicial authority from African courts. The British also took control of some settlements and later set up a legislative council to govern the areas they were in control of. They also took over the abandoned Danish settlements in 1850 and the Dutch settlement in 1871. In 1901, the British declared the Southern Territory a colony by settlement and the Northern Territory a protectorate, while Ashanti was a colony by conquest. In 1925, the British introduced a constitution in the Gold Coast which made provision for the first legislative council elections. Colonial activities then continued in Ghana in various forms. Even though many applaud Dr. Kwame Nkrumah for Ghana's independence, it is impossible to leave out the impact of the Big Six when telling Ghana's independence story, as Nkrumah did not do it alone. In 1947, these six leaders formed the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC, a political party which campaigned for self-governance. The six leaders were Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Obejebe Lamte, Dr. Akko Adjei, Edward Akufo-Addo, J.B. Dankwa, and William Ofori-Atta. On the 28th of February in 1948, they led a march to Christiansburg Castle, the seat of the colonial government, in protest. The police ordered them to disperse, but they refused. Superintendent Colin Imray, a British police officer, ordered the police to open fire on the protesters, and 3 people were killed as a result. This led to a 5-day riot in Accra. The 6 leaders were arrested, and Nkrumah was blamed for it. Nkrumah left the UGCC shortly after. The more radical supporters of Nkrumah joined him when he formed the New Convention People's Party, CPP, in June of 1949. The CPP was particular about the Gold Coast being self-governed. This led to some Nkrumah-led campaigns and peaceful protests and strikes in January of 1950. Of course, the British colonial authorities were not pleased with those actions. The peaceful protest turned out to be violent over time, and Nkrumah was arrested and sentenced to prison for a year. On the 8th of February in 1951, the Gold Coast held her first general elections, and the CPP won, making Nkrumah get elected into the parliament. In 1952, the British merged the southeastern part of the Gold Coast, which was part of the Eastern Province, with the southern part of the Transvolta Togoland, the British Togoland. This left the EU divided, with one half under the British rule and the other half under French rule. There was a campaign to have the British Togoland join the Gold Coast to form an independent Ghana, while the Togoland Congress preferred the United Nations Trust Territory to be rejoined with French Togoland. There were some other campaigns and protests in the Gold Coast, many of which in bits added to their success in gaining independence. Some other political parties were also set up in the Gold Coast. However, the CPP remained the strongest. The main opposition party at the time was the United Party. The activities of the Big Six and other political activities led to Ghana's independence on the 6th of March 1957, making Ghana the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence. It was on the same day that name changed from the Gold Coast to Ghana. Nkrumah became Ghana's first president after independence, having worked tirelessly for independence. Did you know some facts about Ghana's independence? In 1945, Kwame Nkrumah was in a meeting where matters of independence were raised. It was there that he got motivated to fight for Ghana's independence. In 1960, Ghanaians approved a new constitution and elected Nkrumah president. Nkrumah's administration was both socialist and nationalist. Ghana's independence inspired the rest of the African continent because by the mid-1960s, over 30 African countries had gained their independence. Before independence in 1957, Ghana was called the Gold Coast because of the massive amounts of gold along the Nkrumah and Volta rivers. What have we missed out in this history? Let us know in the comment section below. Would it be so ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share and subscribe.